In Washington, distance isn't just measured in miles, it's measured in lived reality. Within the same state, you can find two worlds that barely feel connected. On one side, there are small towns struggling with seasonal work, limited income, and a future that feels constrained. Places where life goes on, but opportunity doesn't always grow with it. On the other, there are smaller cities that have become symbols of prosperity, with high incomes, top-tier schools, access to the tech economy, and a quality of life that feels almost uncompromised. This is Washington, a state that quietly reveals some of the sharpest contrasts, from towns that are simply getting by to those living at the peak of comfort. Mattawa is more than just a quiet small town. Its challenges are deeply rooted in its economic structure. The town depends heavily on agriculture, particularly seasonal fieldwork. That means many residents have stable income only during certain parts of the year, followed by long periods of uncertainty once the harvest season ends. This reality is reflected in its median household income, which sits at around $38,000, well below many other small towns in Washington. The pressure is made worse by a high poverty rate, with some estimates reaching over 33% of the population. It's not just about low income, but about the limited pathways out of that situation. There are few alternative industries, leaving residents with very narrow job options. Interestingly, Mattawa sits along a key transportation route near the Columbia River, but that potential has yet to translate into meaningful economic development. Wapato takes those challenges even further, not just stagnation, but sustained economic pressure from multiple directions. Here, the issue isn't only low income, but the scale of poverty itself. The median household income is around $52,000, but what stands out is the poverty rate, which approaches 24% of the population. That means nearly 1 in 4 residents is living in a fragile economic condition, an unusually high figure even for a small town. Like Mattawa, Wapato's economy relies heavily on agriculture, and with that dependence comes the same pattern: seasonal jobs, low wages, and instability. When the season ends, many residents are left facing uncertainty again. Opportunities to transition into other sectors remain limited, as alternative industries have not significantly developed. Ritzville represents a quieter kind of struggle, not marked by sudden crisis, but by a long, slow stagnation that is easy to overlook, yet very real. The town once played an important role as a transit hub in eastern Washington. Over time, that role diminished, and Ritzville became a small community with a relatively low and stagnant population. Its median household income, around $56,000, reflects a modest economy centered on local services, agriculture, and small businesses. The core challenge in Ritzville isn't just income levels, but the lack of new growth drivers. Few industries are moving in, there's no significant wave of investment, and no clear economic catalyst to shift the town's trajectory. As a result, life here feels stable, but in the flattest sense of the word. Granger, Washington shows another, more subtle form of struggle. Not a town in collapse, but one trapped in a small scale that is difficult to outgrow. Granger is best known for its unusual nickname, the dinosaur capital of the world, complete with dinosaur statues scattered throughout the town. But behind that distinctive identity, its economic foundation remains quite limited. Median household income sits around $66,000, and much of the available work still depends on agriculture in the Yakima Valley. The core issue is the lack of variety in job opportunities. Like many other agricultural towns, the jobs here tend to be low-paying and do not offer a clear path for long-term career growth. As a result, many residents, especially younger people, do not see many reasons to stay for the long run. This small town is often called the City of Murals, with dozens of large murals depicting local history and community life. Visually, it has a character that many other small towns simply do not have. But behind that identity, median household income still sits around $67,000, and the poverty rate remains fairly high. Like the towns before it, Toppenish depends heavily on the agricultural economy of the Yakima Valley. The jobs available tend to be low-wage and not always stable, with limited opportunities to move into higher-income work. The central problem here is the gap between identity and economic reality. Brewster reflects a quieter kind of problem, an economy that keeps moving, but never feels truly stable. Located at the meeting point of the Columbia and Okanogan rivers, Brewster actually holds a fairly strategic geographic position. But like many small towns in this region, its economy depends heavily on agriculture and seasonal work, especially in the fruit industry. During harvest season, activity picks up, but outside of that period, job opportunities quickly narrow. Median household income in Brewster is around $39,000, and many of the available jobs are low-wage positions with limited stability. This creates a repeating pattern. There is work, but not enough to build long-term financial security. Another problem is the lack of economic diversification. There are very few large industries or alternative sectors capable of absorbing workers outside the agricultural economy. Omak presents a different kind of challenge, not just instability, but isolation that limits nearly every opportunity. Omak is one of the larger small towns in northern Washington, but size does not automatically mean opportunity. Most jobs are concentrated in local retail, services, and community-based work. Large industries are almost non-existent, which means high-paying career options are extremely limited. What stands out most is its distance from major economic centers. Reaching larger cities with broader job opportunities requires a long trip. That leaves many residents, especially younger people, facing a difficult choice: stay and live with limited options, or leave the town entirely. Soap Lake carries a sharp kind of irony, a town with unique tourism potential, yet one that has struggled to turn that into stable economic strength. The town is known for its rare mineral lake, often described as having therapeutic value. On paper, that is a major asset that most towns simply do not have. But in reality, the potential has never been fully developed. Median household income remains around $48,000, and unemployment is relatively higher than the state average. The main problem is dependence on potential that is not consistent enough to sustain the economy. Tourism exists, but it is not strong or stable enough to serve as the backbone of the town year-round. Beyond that, job opportunities once again remain limited to local sectors with relatively low wages. Colville represents a quieter kind of challenge, not a complete lack of opportunity, but growth that is simply too slow to truly be felt. As one of the slightly larger small towns in northeastern Washington, Colville actually has a more stable foundation compared to many of the places mentioned earlier. Median household income sits in the mid-$45,000 range, a bit higher, and job options are somewhat more diverse, spanning local services, government roles, and smaller sectors. But that is also where the progress seems to stall. The core issue in Colville is the pace of development. There is no major wave of investment, no significant new industry, and no strong economic driver capable of shifting the town's trajectory. Everything moves, but very slowly. Dayton closes out this worst side with a different tone, not defined by extreme economic pressure, but by a gradual loss of momentum. At first glance, Dayton almost looks like the ideal small town. Its historic buildings are well preserved, the atmosphere is calm, and it is known as one of the oldest towns in Washington. But beneath that charm, the reality is more complex. The main challenge lies in the town's small scale and limited economic dynamics. Few industries are moving in, there is little meaningful growth, and the population remains stagnant, showing signs of long-term decline. For younger generations, the choice often is not how to grow here, but whether to leave altogether. But Washington is not only defined by these struggles. On the other side, there are small towns that tell a completely different story, places where opportunity is expanding, incomes are rising, and quality of life feels significantly higher. These towns are not just surviving, they are thriving, and this is where the contrast becomes impossible to ignore. After looking at towns struggling with limitation and stagnation, Walla Walla feels like a turning point, a clear example of how a small town can grow without losing its identity. Walla Walla is widely known as the center of Washington's wine industry, with hundreds of wineries helping drive the local economy. Unlike the towns mentioned earlier, which depend on one narrow sector, the economy here is far more diversified, ranging from tourism and education to a growing network of local businesses. Median household income sits around $66,000, making it both higher and more stable. What stands out most is how visible that growth feels. Its downtown is vibrant, filled with restaurants, art galleries, and tourism activity that stays active throughout the year. The presence of institutions like Whitman College also gives the city an added boost, strengthening both the economy and the town's overall energy. After Walla Walla, which grew through the strength of its wine industry and an increasingly diverse economy, Leavenworth takes a very different path, turning its identity itself into an economic engine. Leavenworth is not an ordinary town. Its entire appearance is designed around the style of a Bavarian village, complete with German-inspired architecture, seasonal festivals, and an atmosphere that feels almost European. What makes it especially interesting is that this was not an accident. It was a deliberate strategy, and it worked. Tourism here is not just a bonus, but the main backbone of the local economy. The results are easy to see. Economic activity stays alive for most of the year, from Oktoberfest celebrations to Christmas festivals that consistently draw large crowds. Median household income stands at around $70,000, with job opportunities that are far more stable than in agriculture-based towns. Poulsbo reflects a quieter path to success, not through massive tourism growth, but through a balance of identity, location, and everyday stability. Known as Little Norway, Poulsbo has a distinctly Scandinavian feel that shows up in its architecture and local culture. But unlike Leavenworth, which depends heavily on tourism, Poulsbo's economy is more balanced. Many of its residents work outside the town, especially in the Seattle area and nearby communities, making it something of a commuter town with a high quality of life. The key to Poulsbo lies in its location. It is close enough to major economic centers to offer access to strong job opportunities, while still maintaining the comfort and slower pace of a small town. That gives residents the ability to benefit from a larger regional economy without having to live in the middle of a major city. Gig Harbor takes things a step further, into a level where quality of life is not just stable, but begins to feel distinctly premium. Located along the waterfront with beautiful harbor views, Gig Harbor is known as one of the most attractive small towns in the Puget Sound region. But its strength is not only visual. Median household income here is around $118,000, with relatively low crime and a well-maintained environment that adds to its overall appeal. Its economy is also more diverse than many of the towns discussed earlier. In addition to tourism and local business activity, many residents work in Tacoma or even Seattle, giving the town broad access to major employment markets. That creates stronger stability and significantly higher financial opportunity. Camas is located in Clark County near the Oregon border and not far from the Portland metropolitan area. That position is one of its greatest advantages: access to a major job market without having to live in a large city. Many residents work in technology, professional services, or for major companies in the broader metro area. Median household income in Camas is around $141,000, making it one of the highest income small towns in Washington. Crime remains relatively low, and the local school system is often rated very highly, which makes the town especially attractive for families. Camas has a more structural kind of advantage, an economy supported by direct access to major industries beyond the town itself. Issaquah moves up to a more strategic level, a small town that has effectively become part of the greater Seattle economic ecosystem. Located at the base of the Cascade Mountains, Issaquah offers a rare combination: a strong connection to nature while still having direct access to the technology and business centers of Seattle and Bellevue. That makes it one of the most valuable commuter towns in Washington. Median household income in Issaquah is around $154,000, far above the state average. Many of its residents work in technology, business, and major companies across the Puget Sound region. Job stability here is very strong, with low unemployment and well-developed public services. Redmond moves to the next level, not just a place near a major economic center, but a core part of that center itself. Located on the east side of the Seattle metropolitan area, Redmond is known as one of the most important technology hubs in the United States. It is home to Microsoft's headquarters, which has directly shaped the city's economy, demographics, and income levels. Median household income in Redmond is around $162,000, making it one of the highest in Washington. Nearly the entire local economic ecosystem is driven by technology, engineering, and high-paying professional services. That creates exceptionally strong job stability with very low unemployment. Redmond already feels more urban and modern, with infrastructure, public services, and everyday life deeply influenced by the rhythm of a technology-centered city. Bainbridge Island presents a different kind of luxury, not one built on industrial intensity, but on exclusivity, calm, and an exceptionally high quality of life. Located just about 30 minutes from Seattle by ferry, Bainbridge Island is one of the most sought-after communities in the Puget Sound region. Its location offers a unique balance, extremely close to a major city, yet feeling like a separate world. Quieter, greener, and far more private. Median household income here is around $174,000, with high levels of education and very low crime. Many of its residents are established professionals who choose to live here for quality of life, not just for access to work. Bainbridge is supported more by a wealthy residential community, premium local businesses, and commuters traveling to Seattle. Sammamish represents an almost ideal version of the elite suburb, defined by stability, safety, and exceptionally high income. Located on Seattle's east side, Sammamish is one of the most affluent residential communities in Washington. Median household income here is around $239,000, making it one of the highest in the state. Most of its residents work in professional sectors, especially technology, finance, and senior management roles in the Seattle and Bellevue area. What sets Sammamish apart is its extreme combination of security and quality of life. Crime is very low, its schools rank among the best in the state, and its neighborhoods are dominated by high-standard family homes. In terms of atmosphere, Sammamish feels highly organized, quiet, green, and carefully maintained. There is not much commercial bustle because its main function is residential rather than economic, but its proximity to the region's technology hubs keeps residents closely connected to major opportunities. After Sammamish, which is already highly established and stable, Mercer Island stands out as one of the most extreme examples of elite small-town living in all of Washington, arguably one of the most exclusive in the United States. Located right in the middle of Lake Washington, Mercer Island holds a unique position. It is not exactly a suburb of Seattle, but not entirely a separate city either. It is more like a premium residential island, directly connected to both Seattle and Bellevue by bridge. That location makes it especially strategic for high-income professionals. Median household income in Mercer Island is around $219,000, with many residents working in technology, law, finance, and executive roles at major companies. What truly makes Mercer Island different is the consistency of its elite character. This is not simply a wealthy town. It is a community that has maintained a high socioeconomic status for a long time. The homes are large, the environment is exceptionally well kept, and daily life moves at a calm pace, but with a very high standard of living.